Hello, hello. I saw a while back on YouTube a film of a very, very happy horse. A female Belgian Brabant, Belgian draft horse in Belgium. And the lady who has that horse is a sweetheart, a darling, a beautiful inside and out. And the way she handled that horse, I was so deeply touched by that. And it's so wonderful to see that some people are so sweet with the animals. And a lot of people, they think, oh, these tough horses, these draft horses, oh yes, they're worker horses and so on. But they have feelings too, they have very tender feelings. They're very sensitive beings, even if have a lot of muscles and extremely tender and sensitive and alert and receptive for real friendship and love to the human and other animals and other horses. So this lady, the way she let her horse run, she had this gigantic indoor arena, and she brought food and water with her and to make it more fun, more interesting, to praise the horse. And so she just let the horse into that arena and just let her run and do fun things. And I've never seen a horse so happy and so motivated and so full of vigor and zest for life, and just so carefree, and so feeling so protected, with when a living being feels totally protected and loved, the humor comes out all of a sudden. Natural humor comes out in the animals. And a lot of people, they will think a draft horse is a tough guy. He can pull timber and a plow and all of this, but they don't understand. Those are extremely tender and sensitive and receptive beings. Like the girl in Belgium, the way she allows her horse to be herself, and all of that humor comes out, and the way the horse was galloping around and jumping and buckling and coming back to her and giving her a kiss on the nose, and then running off again and coming back, giving her another kiss and running off and coming back. And you could see the humor in the face of that horse. So when an animal is protected and loved and cared for, then joy, and with that joy comes humor and intelligence and creativity. It's flow, its metabolism comes out, and joy and art and creativeness. Just to creativeness can be anything from painting to assembling the rocks. My husband, he was assembling the rocks we found, and he said that's his art there on the window. And it could be anything from dolphins making bubbles, I talked about this before, to a horse coming up and doing humorous things with the muzzle, and touching the lady and running off and running in loops and coming back and buckling and just being carefree, being free. And I want all humans to learn this, to understand that we can all be free. Then we don't have to drink and smoke anymore. We can be free. We can heal into freedom, and then we can become creative and become who we really are. You can do this just by stopping what you're doing, sitting down and looking out into the trees, looking at the birds and the animals and the squirrels and the rabbits and the deer. Just looking at the animals, observing them, enjoying them, alive, happy, healthy, wishing them love, not going out with the gun, but going out there with binoculars and wishing them love and health and happiness and being happy with them. Yeah? And appreciating your pet on the couch. Don't ban your pet outside. Appreciate your animal as another person. And that's what they are. If we are persons, they are persons too. We need to give them personhood rights. And if we can do that, then they can live in health and happiness and joy, like the horse in Belgium. That amazing girl horse, playing, loving, being creative. That's how every living being should be. We should not be overbreeding animals and keeping them in hostile conditions. That shouldn't happen. We should adopt, and we should, if breeding at all, it has to be under the most careful, loving conditions there is, and it has to be controlled, and it has to be not done for greed, if at all, only for the love of that specific being. But there are so many in the shelters. There are so many horses also in sanctuaries where they are trying to find somebody to adopt the horses. So and some rich people have done that. The wife of T. Boone Pickens has rescued a lot of horses and given them a sanctuary and a happy place to live. Many acres, hundreds of acres to live on and roam and grass and be happy finally. So there are some amazing people. If you don't have space, you can't be adopting a wild animal who needs a lot of space and running and roaming. So, but you can adopt a small animal, a small pet, a small dog or a rabbit or a cat. That would work. But yeah, people with many acres, hundreds of acres, that's perfect to adopt a horse or a cow or a pig or all three of them, and let them run and be friends and be happy for the first time in their lives. There's this amazing film by Peter. They rescued laboratory bunnies, white albino with red eyes. It's on YouTube, it's beautiful. I'll put the link under the video. It's perfect for Eastern, so if you come across this video, if you see it and if you like it, I recommend send it to your friends for Eastern, because that brings more awareness, and it's just a absolutely touching, gripping and beautiful video. It's beautiful to see those rabbits be released and put on, they have a specific territory there with grass in the Peter Farm Sanctuary, where they rescue animals and like animals that are rescued from laboratories and slaughter facilities, and they're brought there when they're healthy, or when they can if they're sick and they can recover, when they have a chance to recover. they bring the animals there, and they also try to find someone to adopt them. And so they have this really large, like a large lawn, and it's enclosed. It has a fence around it with chicken wire, so that the larger animals next to them, they can't, like goats on another lawn, so that they can't bother the other species. And if the rabbits might be scared of the goats, so the rabbits have their own territory, and they release these rabbits, and they saw grass for the first time in their lives, and you can just see and feel the excitement in their faces, in their bodies, how they were jumping and how they checking everything out. They feel things under their chins, so they were feeling everything, and they were in awe with all of this. It's like paradise. Paradise. Paradise, that what they are supposed to have in their lives. But they never had. They had the opposite. They had a completely unnatural environment where they were suffering, and like in tiny cages, because these laboratory people, they want to skip and skimp, and they want to save money, and they want to cram these animals in there together, and in small confinements, and they suffer, and they put terribly toxic stuff on them, and these animals suffer, and they develop skin sores and ulcers, and suffer terribly. It's what they do to laboratory rabbits is absolutely, it is the absolute worst. It's absolute horror. I don't want to talk about it right now in this video, but research it for yourself. I have seen the worst things, what they do to them. Unbelievable stuff, where they have to actually euthanize them afterwards, because there's no way they can possibly recover after what they had done to them. So it's that horrific. It's like a nightmare what they do to them. Absolute nightmare. Some of the rabbits were rescued, and they were brought to the farm sanctuary, and now they were all in awe. They think this is paradise, and this is really something that they are supposed to be living in. They're supposed to live in that paradise. And for us humans, it's a bit of a parallel, because humans created their own laboratory suffering, their own mental laboratory suffering, the way we live, and they don't even know anymore. They have created mental prison walls where they don't even know anymore what is actually the paradise. The stuff they think is paradise, like drinking, drugs, cocaine, forced sex, fast sex, and porn with cocaine, drugs, and all of that toxic makeup, and all of that. That's not the paradise that we really need and deserve. That is something that most people have forgotten about. They don't even know what that really is. The ideal paradise. Maybe this paradise I'm talking about has never existed yet. But we have the tools right now to create it. We can create that paradise I'm talking about. We can turn everything around. We don't have to do forced sex anymore. We don't have to do Viagra anymore. We don't have to do drugs anymore. We don't need any of these things, to be creating that paradise. All of the pleasure and joy, the natural joy, that will arise by itself in the most abundant form you can possibly imagine, if you really give it the fertile ground for it. So I'm going to talk about that in my next video. I don't want to make these videos too long. But we have all the tools to make our lives joyful. And the only way we make our lives joyful, really truly joyful, is if we give true love to all earthian beings. So take care.